So first and foremost, I want to welcome all of you, our Lexus guests, in joining us for today's preview of the exciting all-new 2015 Lexus NX. My name is Matt Miller, and my journey with Lexus started almost 8 years ago. In the early days of working for this brand and this company, I was involved in many conversations about the potential of this new, small, compact SUV coming into the market. Sandy here anywhere? Sandy, who a lot of you know, there she is. Sandy, a great friend and a colleague for many years. She took me under her wing when I first started, and she always told me that there's going to be this compact SUV coming. It's going to come, it's going to come. So alongside her, we waited and waited, and 8 years later, we stand here today. We believe it's an important segment to be a part of, given the continuous popularity of the Lexus SUVs in our lineup, and of course the elements we deal with in our winters here in Alberta. So we're truly excited and very honored to be the first to be able to showcase this vehicle to you in our market. I'm joined by two of my colleagues today, Chak and Munish Sharma. They're going to be doing a presentation on this vehicle for us. They're going to talk about the features, the styling, some of the new technology, and go through the whole vehicle. So without further ado, I want to pass it on to Wayne and Munish.
Thank you very much, Matt. Matt, Munish, did you see the crowd that we had this morning? I mean, from the moment that this vehicle was seen in the trailer to when it was parked over there, I mean, the amount of crowd that we had, I mean, we've been waiting for this car for at least 8 years. I mean, it's definitely an exciting time, eh?
Well, it's been ready to hit the market for a long time coming. Even when we were unloading off the trailer this morning, there were people stopping from the Tim Hortons lineup to come take pictures to see what the big excitement was about.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the NX 2015, it's a big launch for us. It's a new enter for Lexus in this segment, something we've been long waiting for. Is that right, Wayne?
Yeah, it is. I mean, something like this, it's definitely something that everybody's been waiting for. I mean, I myself, I've gotten a pre-order of this before I've even seen this, so I'm definitely really excited about this.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the car. So let's start off with the engine a little bit. This is the first time that our affiliate Toyota / Lexus have introduced a turbo engine. And the last time they did was the Toyota Supra, which was the sports car of its time.
And you know what? Now fast forward things 12 years later, Lexus have developed a newly built turbo engine. Not only is this the new first turbo in over a decade, but it's been chosen to launch on a platform that's ready to take the luxury crossover over by a storm.
So we had to do something a little bit different. Just like how the RX has been a staple in luxury SUV sales, the NX now stands to take the #1 spot in the market. With a 2-liter turbo producing 235 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, available at 1600 RPM, is the largest power band in its market.
Exactly. Not only that, they did that with a 6-speed transmission. The new NX is sure to fire in all cylinders. Now this is also available in a hybrid engine, the NX300H, which is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder turbo that produces 194 horsepower with a 152 foot-pound of torque. Match that with an automatic continuous variable transmission. I mean, that just hits the sweet spot, eh?
Well, that's a big thing, right? A lot of the times you launch a new profile, there's only one engine platform. And this way, Lexus has done it on 2. What was that stat you were telling me this morning about the testing?
I mean, a lot of times we're afraid to get into new vehicles because we're not sure if there's going to be new kinks that needs to be worked out, but
600,000 kilometers before it hit a test drive market. So on the dyno, that was 24 times around the world. So a lot of people are worried about, is this a new turbo for Toyota / Lexus? Is it going to be reliable? Is it going to be safe? The in-house testing that we have done, we wouldn't launch something that we didn't put our name behind 100%.
Exactly. And we wouldn't do it unless we've gone over the extra miles to make sure that this is something that's reliable, and that's what Lexus is definitely known for on the reliability side, and also the comfortness and the quietness of the ride.
Well, let's stop talking about the more stuff now here, Wayne. I see a lot of yawns in the crowd. Let's start talking about the styling that people are excited about. So if everyone would like to come near the front, and that's the big thing that we want to showcase, is we have carried the Lexus spindle grille over to the NX, which originally started with the IS, which was launched last year.
Exactly. Every curve, every bend on this vehicle goes from head to toe, and from the back, from the front and back. It's shaped exactly like a diamond. So guess what? When the air kind of goes through, it just kind of cuts right through the corners and through the back, so that it has a very efficient for the air wind as well.
And it's not just only the styling, it's the technology as well that's kind of built into the style. Let's talk more about the LED lamps.
Oh, now the headlamp, I mean, that's definitely one of the signatures now. I mean, we started off with the LED for the daytime running lights, and now we've also incorporated your turning signals that are on front both sides. And as well as your headlamp. You have the LED headlamp that's available as well on these, and they're very sharp. I mean, you can definitely see them from miles away.
Well, the advantage of the LED compared to typical halogen or HID bulb is they're a lot cooler. They're a lot longer span life and a brighter white as well, so they light up those Edmonton roads at night.
Exactly. Speaking of even just this, I mean, how the whole spindle grille builds, I mean, that wide stance, I mean, it's just a very muscular kind of feel to it when you look at it, eh?
So following the body lines down, you come into the sharp lines right across the back, and if I can get the crowd to come just over to the back and follow the lines of the body, or come into the rear of the car. Followed by the signature tail lamps that's new to the NX as well.
Yeah, definitely. I guess if you're asked, well, what is this black surround with the tail light? Well, these are the black crystal skeleton that wraps around your tail light, just to give it that extra character. And as well, with the tail lights down, you also have that L shape as well. That's very bright as well in the nighttime and very elegant looking as well.
Not only is the dual exhaust an aesthetic feature, it's more a performance feature as well. To help that 2-liter engine breathe, you need that dual exhaust system to make the engine run a lot cooler as well. Isn't that right, Wayne?
Exactly. Standard features on these. You have the backup camera that actually comes with dynamic lines. So that when you turn your steering wheel, you want to know where your car is going. Well, guess what? The lines is definitely going to do that for you, man.
And that's not going to be a problem at all in those tight low parking spots. And another standard feature on an SUV this size that you don't see is an automatic power tilt lift gate. It's an option on a lot of other vehicles. Coming into a premium package is going to be a standard on that package.
Exactly. For some of us that live in the condo and things, I mean, the garage is definitely a lot shorter, right? And that's where with this, you actually have different height settings so that it ensures that it doesn't hit anything on the way up, which would be good, eh?
That's about all. Now that we're in the rear of the vehicle, let's talk a little bit more about the interior. One of the optional features on this is the power reclining seats, something another class leading for this segment that you don't find a lot. Wayne, would you like to demonstrate the seat?
Yeah, definitely. What's nice about this too is it's actually just a one touch. So you click it once, the seats fold down, and it's at a nice speed where you don't have to wait a long time for the seats to fully fold down. And you know what? You're a golfer, right, Munish?
Yeah.
And that's what's surprising. You can actually take 4 guests with 4 large bags that can fit into it. How awesome is that here without having to
That's pretty
sacrifice?
sweet, whereas you don't have to sacrifice taking 2 vehicles, and with the carpooling is very nice as well. There's also 3 conveniently loaded buttons, 4 on the power seats, 1 inside here, 1 on the seats, and 1 for the driver as well. So if the driver doesn't have access to get to the back, it is convenient for him to open that up for a young child, which is kind of difficult for them to fold down.
It's definitely nice to have that total control, eh? And that's where with this, you also have a tonneau cover as well. That cover gives yourself some privacy. But at the same time, if you do have the load where it requires that extra height space, well, guess what? This actually fits into here nicely. Now, this is a prototype here, so it doesn't exactly work that way, but the one that's actually going to be landing in North America, it's actually going to have the feature where you can fit it in there nicely.
So let's close the back up here and bring people to what they would see with the interior, the driver's side.
Exactly. And before you get in here, I mean, Lexus, it's definitely about all the little details. This handle here, it looks very normal, but guess what? They've actually made 10 moldings of these before they found the right fit. Just the natural way that we slip our hands in. I mean, like when I put my hands in here, it feels pretty good.
Well, it's the little details that go a long way. It's something that the average consumer wouldn't think about. So when you're coming in, it's the natural free flow of the hand.
Once you step in here, I mean, with the Alberta weather that we have, a lot of times it gets really dirty outside, right? And getting in and out of an SUV, a lot of times the back of her pan like really gets against this, and that's where you get out and back, and the next thing you know, you have a nice dirty mark on the back of your pants here. And what's nice about this is there's actually a weather strip on the bottom here that actually protects the bottom here. So guess what? When you're getting in and out of your car very swiftly, you're not going to get the back of your pan dirty, which is nice, right?
Yeah, it happened to me quite a few times. So talking more about this vehicle, again, this is the Japanese prototype. So the steering wheel is on the other side, but when the market comes here, don't worry, it will be adjusted for our likings. Wayne, let's talk about some of the features that make this different compared to the competition.
Man, you just got me excited here. I mean, there's a lot of little things in this car that really makes this car unique. Well, guess what? Things like the dome light. Well, we're used to buttons and things, but how would you like to just slide your hand across the top there to get all your lights on?
Well, it's a great feature in the middle of the night. You can't find the lights, a new car for you. You just swipe your hand right on there. It's a touch sensitive, the light setup, and again, LED lighting on the inside as well, which make a nice bright interior.
Exactly. Lots of standard features on these too. I mean, a lot of times we have our phones with us, right? We don't want to get pulled over with a distracting ticket. Well, guess what? Standard features in these things, you have the Bluetooth capability where depending on which phones you're with, we'll hook up your audio, we'll hook up your phone, or read your text message, your emails, depending on which phones you have.
But the newest thing that is available as well, sometimes we don't have that cord for us or for your friend who's visiting, there's a wireless charging station. Starting, I think, in 2015 or 2016, all standard phones will have wireless charging, even I think the new iPhone 6. So Apple phones, Android phones, BlackBerry Put it in the center console, put it in there, wireless charging, and away you go. So you're not fumbling with those cables anymore.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely a nice feature, hey? And little things like, you know what, the heads-up display on this one. I mean, it's definitely a newer generation of those where it's a full color display, where without taking your eyes off the road, well, how nice would it be when you're traveling down to a new city? I mean, I know that you're not too familiar with Edmonton here, but how would you like to not get lost because you have the navigation telling?
Well, that's the big thing too for somebody being new to the city and not knowing the directions and taking my eyes off the road with heads-up displays, telling you where you're going. The tachometer's there, it tells you your radio station, the volume, where you're kind of going from there. So that's one of the big technology features. And again, when we're getting to safety with this vehicle, what's new for Lexus as well is in this vehicle is the lane departure assistance. So if you're ever veering away from the lane, you know how many times we do look at that text message, which you're not supposed to. If you are veering out of the lane, it'll make an audible noise to beep and let you put you back into the lane as well.
Definitely. Things like, you know what, dynamic radar cruise control. How many times do we set a cruise control, but someone gets in front of us and slows down? Well, guess what? Things like the dynamic radar cruise control is where it helps you set that distance so that if the car in front of you does slow down, once they get out of the way, well, guess what? It resumes back to the speed that you were at prior to having that on.
Also, what's new as well, remote touchpad. Also, if you've had a Lexus before, if you're used to the RX or even the new IS, has a little controller in there. With this, it's a touchpad sensor with a tactile feedback. So it might just look like, if you guys remember your laptops, it's like that, but it gives you real feedback. So when you are changing from, you know, navigation, menus, display, you can really feel it going on from there.
And one of the unique features about this as well is these ones have the blind spot monitor on this one. So if sometimes, I mean, we shoulder check and things, but there's a car that's creeping up on us. Well, guess what? The blind spot monitor is going to help you realize that there's a car beside you so that you don't really turn in front of them. Either that, I guess, the old way of someone honking at you, right?
Exactly. Well, there's a lot of interior features that we can go over and exterior features as well. So if you guys have any more questions, please see one of the guys in red, one of our sales guys. And we are taking pre-orders today as well. So if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to ask one of the sales guys. And thank you for coming to the presentation.
And one more thing, we do have a lot, not only on this car, but we have specials today only on other models as well. So definitely have a look to see what fits you. I mean, we have vehicles that fit you from the smallest CT to the biggest LX as well. So thank you very much for your time.